Hey, what's up everybody? We all see those clickbaity articles about the top 10 places to move for a better life. But let's get real for a second. What about the places that sound amazing on paper, but are actually a nightmare for expats? Look, I'm all about chasing your dreams and seeing the world, but some countries have become straight up impossible to live in unless you're rolling in dough. We're talking sky-high rent, insane cost of living, and visa rules that'll make your head spin. So before you sell all your stuff and buy that one-way ticket, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. The countries that might sound appealing but are actually the worst places you could move to in 2025. Let's go! Everyone talks about the best places to move, but what about the worst? In 2025, some countries have become expensive, unsafe, or impossible for expats to live in. Before you pack your bags, watch this video. Right, let's kick things off with New Zealand. This country is often hailed as a paradise on earth, and for good reason. I know, breathtaking landscapes, Lord of the Rings, and a sense of untouched beauty that seems almost otherworldly. Plus, it's super safe. It sounds like paradise, right? A place where you can leave your doors unlocked and let your kids play outside without a second thought. And listen, I'm not saying it's a bad place to visit. In fact, it's an amazing destination for a vacation. The tourism industry is booming for a reason. But actually living there? That's a different story. The reality of day-to-day life can be quite different from the idyllic images you see in travel brochures. First off, the rent. Guys, it's insane. We're talking about prices that can make your eyes water. We're talking San Francisco or New York City levels of insane. And that's saying something, considering those are some of the most expensive cities in the world. And it's not just the big cities like Auckland or Wellington. Even smaller towns are getting hit hard. The housing market is tight everywhere. Good luck finding a decent one-bedroom apartment for less than like $2,000 a month. And that's if you're lucky. Then there's the cost of living in general. It's not just housing that's expensive. Food, transportation, entertainment, everything is more expensive than in the US. A simple grocery run can feel like you're emptying your wallet. And don't even get me started on the hidden costs, like healthcare. Sure, it's free, but the system is far from perfect. Sure, it's free, but good luck getting an appointment before 2027. The waiting lists can be excruciatingly long. And if you think you can just waltz in and get a visa, think again. The immigration process is no walk in the park. New Zealand has really tightened up its immigration policies recently. It's not as easy as it used to be. Unless you're in a high-demand field like healthcare or IT, or you've got a fat stack of cash to invest, getting residency is tough. The competition is fierce. Look, I get it. New Zealand is beautiful. The landscapes are stunning and the quality of life is high. But unless you're earning a six-figure salary or you're cool with living in a van down by the river, which by the way is becoming increasingly illegal, you might want to reconsider making it your new home. The dream can quickly turn into a financial nightmare. Next up, we're hopping over to the Emerald Isle, Ireland. Now, Ireland has a lot going for it. Friendly people, a vibrant pub culture, and a booming tech scene. But there's one huge problem that's turning this dream destination into a nightmare for expats: the housing crisis. Seriously, guys, it's bad. Like, really bad. Rent prices in Dublin are some of the highest in Europe, and it's nearly impossible to find a place to live. We're talking bidding wars, insane deposits, and people literally living in sheds. And it's not just rent. The cost of living in general is through the roof. Groceries, transportation, eating out, it all adds up. Even locals are struggling to afford to live in their own country. And while the job market is strong, especially in tech, the competition is fierce. Plus, getting a visa can be a major headache, especially if you're not from the EU. Listen, I love Ireland. I really do. But unless you've got a high-paying job lined up and you're okay with living in a shoebox apartment, I'd say hold off on booking that flight to Dublin. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, okay, New Zealand and Ireland are out, but what about the UK? It's got history, culture, and a strong economy. And yeah, all of that is true. The UK is home to some of the world's most iconic landmarks, from Big Ben to Stonehenge, and its cultural festivals are second to none. The British Museum, the West End Theatre District, and the vibrant music scene are just a few examples of what makes the UK so appealing. But hold your horses, because post-Brexit Britain isn't exactly the most welcoming place for expats these days. The political landscape has shifted dramatically, and with it the ease of moving to and living in the UK. First of all, let's talk visas. Remember how easy it used to be for EU citizens to live and work in the UK? Yeah, those days are long gone. Now everyone needs a visa, and the process is about as much fun as a root canal. The paperwork is extensive, the requirements are stringent, and the waiting times can be excruciatingly long. It's expensive, time-consuming, and there's no guarantee you'll even get approved. The costs can add up quickly, from application fees to legal advice, and even if you do everything right, there's still a chance you could be denied. Then there's the cost of living. London has always been expensive, but now it's on another level. Rent is astronomical, groceries are pricey, and don't even get me started on the cost of a pint. And it's not just London. The cost of living is rising across the entire country. Cities like Manchester, Birmingham, and Edinburgh are also seeing significant increases in living expenses. And if you thought the US had bad inflation, buckle up. The UK is experiencing some of the highest inflation rates in decades, which means your money just doesn't go as far as it used to. Everyday items from groceries to utilities are becoming more expensive, putting a strain on household budgets. Look, the UK can be a great place to live if you're a high earner with a secure visa. The opportunities for career advancement, the quality of education, and the healthcare system are all top-notch. But for everyone else, it's becoming increasingly difficult to make ends meet. The dream of living in the UK is becoming more and more elusive for many expats. So before you pack your bags and head to the UK, make sure you do your homework. Understand the visa requirements, budget for the high cost of living, and be prepared for the challenges that come with living in a post-Brexit Britain. It might still be a great place to visit, but as for living there, well, that's a whole different story. The reality is, the UK is no longer the easy, welcoming place it once was for expats. The landscape has changed, and with it, the dream of a new life in Britain has become a lot more complicated. So, if you're considering a move to the UK, weigh your options carefully. It might still be worth it for some, but for many, the challenges may outweigh the benefits. In the end, the decision is yours, but make sure it's an informed one. The UK has a lot to offer, but it's not the expat paradise it once was. So do your research, plan ahead, and be prepared for the realities of living in a post-Brexit Britain. It might just save you a lot of time, money, and heartache in the long run. And remember, while the UK has its challenges, it's still a place of incredible history, culture, and opportunity. Just make sure you're ready for the ride. The journey might be tough, but for those who can navigate the complexities, the rewards can be worth it. So, if you're up for the challenge, the UK awaits. Just go in with your eyes wide open, and who knows, you might just find that the not-so-great parts are worth it for the truly great experiences you'll have. After all, every place has its pros and cons. The key is to be prepared and make the most of what the UK has to offer. So, good luck, and may your expat journey be as smooth as possible, wherever you choose to go. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, all right, you've convinced me to stay away from New Zealand, Ireland, and the UK. But what about Canada? It's got free healthcare, friendly people, and it's practically America's hat. And yeah, Canada has a lot going for it. But before you pack your bags and head north, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the cost of living. Specifically, the housing market. Guys, it's bananas. Toronto and Vancouver are now two of the most expensive cities in the world to live in. We're talking million-dollar teardowns and bidding wars that would make your head spin. And it's not just the big cities, smaller towns are getting hit hard too. Then there are the taxes. Sure, you get free healthcare, but you're paying for it through your nose in taxes. Income tax, sales tax, property tax, you name it, they tax it. And don't even get me started on the price of gas. And let's not forget about the weather. Unless you're a fan of 6-month winters and wearing a parka in May, you might want to reconsider moving to Canada. Look, Canada can be a great place to live if you've got a high-paying job and you don't mind the cold. Finally, let's talk about Dubai. This city has become a symbol of luxury and opulence, drawing people from all over the world. But behind the glitz and glamour, there's a lot more to consider. This futuristic city in the desert seems to be everywhere these days, from Instagram influencers to travel bloggers. It's like the ultimate playground for the rich and famous, with its towering skyscrapers and lavish lifestyle. And yeah, Dubai is undeniably glamorous. The luxury cars, high-end shopping malls, and the stunning Dubai marina at night all paint a picture of a city that's larger than life. But is it a good place to live? That's the million-dollar question. The cost of living in Dubai can be a real eye-opener. Well, that depends on how much money you have. If you're rolling in cash, you might find it manageable. But for the average person, the expenses can quickly add up. Because here's the thing about Dubai, it's expensive. Like, really, really expensive. From luxury goods to dining out, the price tags can be shocking. Rent is astronomical, especially if you want to live anywhere near the city centre. The closer you are to the action, the more you'll pay. And it's not just rent. Everything from groceries to transportation to entertainment is pricey. Even a simple night out can burn a hole in your pocket. And while Dubai is often touted as a tax-free haven, that's not entirely true. The reality is a bit more complicated. Yes, there's no income tax, but there are a ton of other fees and taxes you'll have to pay, like municipality tax, VAT, and visa fees. These can add up quickly and take a significant chunk out of your budget. So while you might save on income tax, you'll find yourself paying in other ways. It's important to factor these costs into your financial planning. And let's not forget about the heat. Dubai is hot, like really hot. The summer temperatures can be unbearable, often soaring above 40 degrees Celsius. For about half the year, the temperatures are so high that it's basically impossible to be outside during the day. You'll find yourself relying heavily on air conditioning just to stay comfortable. And then there are the cultural restrictions. Dubai is a Muslim country, and while it's relatively liberal, there are still certain rules and customs you'll need to be aware of. For example, public displays of affection are frowned upon, and you can get in trouble for dressing inappropriately. It's crucial to respect the local customs and traditions. Look, Dubai can be a great place to visit or even live for a short time if you're earning a high salary. The opportunities for high-paying jobs can be enticing, but for most people, it's simply not a sustainable place to live long-term. The high cost of living, extreme weather, and cultural adjustments can make it challenging to call Dubai home for an extended period. So, there you have it. The 5 worst countries to move to in 2025. Look, I know it's tough out there. The cost of living is rising everywhere, and it seems like everyone's looking for a better life. But before you pack your bags and move to a new country, it's important to do your research and be realistic about the challenges you might face. Don't just believe the hype. Talk to people who actually live in these countries, read expat forums, and crunch the numbers to see if you can actually afford to live there. Moving to a new country is a big decision, and it's not one to be taken lightly. So, what do you think? Would you move to any of these countries, or have you lived in one of these places and had a different experience? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to @Evanescent Verities for more expat insights and travel content.